On August 5th, 2012, in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, a man who had a history of alcoholism, white supremacy activity, white power music, misogyny, and just a general disregard for authority of any nature, came to the Sikh Temple and started killing people. He killed two outside before he entered, and by the time law enforcement had arrived, he'd killed a total of five men and one woman, ranging in ages from 39 to 84 years old. The first responding officer was hit multiple times and was down in the parking lot when a 32-year veteran, Officer Sam Lenda, arrived on scene and began exchanging gunfire with the suspect. And you're going to hear from Sam Lenda today on some of the incredible details that I didn't know as closely as I followed this scene, and I've walked it with the current Sikh president. But I learned things today that I didn't know before. So we're going to go into this interview now, and I know you'll enjoy hearing from Sam Lenda, who was the officer who stopped the killing at the Sikh Temple on August 5th, 2012, in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Sam, it's been 13 years. Does it seem like it could be that long ago that the shooting happened there at Oak Creek?
It seems like yesterday. There's not a day goes by where some part of the day I don't think about it.
Oh man, I am sure that's very true. So walk the site. I've been there. I can picture the driveway where you pulled in and kind of the place where Murphy had been hit, but I've never really had anybody that was there from a law enforcement side walk me through it. So if you could, Sam, walk us through that moment, starting with the radio calls you were getting coming up on the road, and you knew Brian was in trouble. Just kind of walk us through that arriving on the scene and what happened when you got there.
Well, actually, that day started out as I was already dispatched to another call. I was at one of our local motels, the Red Roof Inn. I was taking a complaint about a stolen hairpiece when
Oh my.
the original call came in, and the original call came in as a disturbance call. And to be honest with you, we had very little contact with the temple. It was a very interesting relationship there because if you understand the culture, a lot of Sikh members carry ceremonial knives. And
Mm-hmm.
we've had different contacts there where going into that, any contact we had was always one that, we're standoffish because we don't know if they're armed or not. So I was
Mm-hmm.
actually thinking to myself, oh, I'm glad I didn't get that call today. Being it a Sunday, I'd rather take the two dudes fighting over the hairpiece. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was when that call came in.
Wow. And when did it escalate, or how did it escalate, and how did you know it's time to roll?
Well, I listened to the first one, and then I says, okay, I'm still out there and at the Red Roof Inn. Then I heard another dispatch. One of our dispatchers says we got a report of a fight going on, and I heard that other squads that were available were being dispatched there. Then the third dispatch came in and report of shots fired, and that's when everybody started to respond.
Mm-hmm. And as you knew about Brian being in trouble before you got there, correct?
No, it did not.
Oh, you didn't.
No, there was no indication that Brian was in trouble. Brian had pulled into the lot, and he gave a dispatch that people down in the parking lot, I do not see a shooter, and pull in behind me. So when we
Okay.
were arriving, we were looking for his squad. We had no idea that he had been shot at the time.
Oh man, I'm so glad to get that corrected in my mind. I thought by that time you knew that he was down, because this is going to be important in a question I'm going to ask you here in a moment. Uh, but so you pulled into the parking lot and pretty quickly identified the shooter. Am I right?
Well, I never actually made it into the parking lot. If you were there and you recognize the long driveway that crests at the top of the
Yes.
hill,
Yep.
I made it. I made it up that far when I saw an individual standing in the parking lot with a white shirt and black fatigues on, and it appeared to me he was reloading a handgun. He was making those motions.
Okay. Interesting. So you parked out on the street.
No, I parked. Actually, I never parked. I pulled up, and I was still in my squad, and I just crested the top of the hill. And at first, I thought it was somebody with a flashlight. It was like, trying to get my attention with a flashlight. Dumb of me, I realized it wasn't a flashlight. It was a gun and was shooting.
Was he firing at you at that point, or was he continuing to fire at Brian?
At that time, I couldn't tell. I
Okay.
saw the flash, which caught my attention, and I didn't know if he was firing at me at the time or he was firing at Brian.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very interesting. Uh, but at some point, you recognized not only is this a shooter, but I've got to stop this. And what weapon did you grab, and how far away were you, and walk us through that moment of decision.
Well, what happened was I pulled up, and in our squads, we have a time release switch we have to access, two different buttons. And I went to the rack to get the rifle out, and there's a 1 to 3 second delay. And it was a very long 3 seconds. And as it was trying to get my rifle out of the lock, I was actually backing myself up in my squad until I got my rifle out.
Okay.
And it was a comedy of errors after that. As I got the rifle out and I started to pull it, I was trying to pull it across my body and it wouldn't come, and it was stuck. Inadvertently, I had got the sling stuck on our ticket printer that was in the squad.
Okay.
So there
Mm-hmm.
I am fuddling with the sling to get it off of the gear that was in there. Once I have that freed, now I'm like, I'm watching the gentleman approach me. He's starting to come towards me. And he's coming down the driveway, towards the driveway. And as I'm trying to get out of the car, I'm realizing I can't get out of the car. That's because I hadn't
Mm.
taken my seatbelt off yet.
Mm.
Just got my seatbelt off, started to move out of the open door. That's when his round found my windshield and shattered my windshield.
Okay.
Stepped out of the car. My partner, one of the other officers, John Finko, had pulled up behind me, and he was yelling out commands on the radio, giving the other squads commands, when the subject started to run across the parking lot from north to south, and that's when I engaged him.
Oh, really? So when you fired, he was running.
Yes, he was running, and we paced it off. It was 87 yards, roughly.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it was your first shot that found home.
Nope,
Oh, it
wasn't
wasn't.
wasn't the first one that found home. I don't know. Actually, I don't know which one it was, but I know as he was running, uh, one of the vans that was parked in the parking lot, the window shattered. So I knew I was just a little behind him. I had to lead him a little more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And you were shooting a 223 or a 5.56?
5.56.
Okay. All right. And but you did eventually hit him, and knocked him down. Am I saying that right?
That's correct. At the time, I didn't know if I actually hit him because in the parking lot there were little concrete islands that had bushes on them, and it
Mm-hmm.
looked to me like he dove behind cover, like it was behind this bush. And I
Interesting.
remember putting a round right at the base of the bush.
Okay. All right. Just in his general vicinity of where you assumed he was taking concealment.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then what happened next?
The other squads were pulling up, and they were deploying behind us and to our right, where there was a house next to the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard another shot. There was another shot coming at us. Well, we heard the shot. We didn't know, where it was coming from. Wound up.
Right.
Reality is actually he shot himself in the head.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know that.
Right. All
Somebody
you
had
knew
made.
was you couldn't see him at that point, and you heard another shot.
Yes, he was on the ground, so I don't know if he was shooting at it. And I decided to say, well, I didn't know if I got him with my rifle, so I decided just if I can't hit him with my rifle, I'm going to run him over with my squad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got back in the squad and went towards him.
Okay.
The other officers came behind me. We went up on him, secured him, and then we immediately started our search for Lieutenant Murphy.
Uh, and Lieutenant Murphy was not communicating on radio or anything at that point.
No, there was no communication with him. We were searching for him.
Mm. How many times was Brian Murphy hit?
14, I believe.
Man, kind. And all with 9mm?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How is he doing?
Well, he's up and around.
Is he still a spokesman for Bulletproof Vest?
That and other things. He has some other pokers in the fire that he's working on for officer
Okay.
survival.
Good. Well, he's got a vested interest in that, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and he's got a miraculous story. If you ever get the opportunity to see it or to hear one of his talks, you got to go and listen to him.
Yeah. Wow. I can certainly understand why there's not a day that goes by that you don't think about it. When I walked the temple with the president who took over after Satwant Singh Kaleka, um, he was helpful, uh, but I could tell he was also reserved. We'd taken our shoes off there in the front like you need to be, and as we walked through, he took me first to where the first lady inside was killed, and I understand there'd already been somebody outside killed by that time.
There were
Uh,
two outside.
oh, he killed two before he entered.
Yes.
That's interesting to know. I had thought he only killed one and then entered, but that's an interesting thing, Sam. In our research of deadly force incidents at faith-based organizations, we have tracked many of them, and we don't track active shooters. We don't track hate crimes. We don't track it by any of those subdivisions. We just simply track deadly force incidents, those incidents which could have or did take a life. And that includes suicide, because, as your case, many times a suicidal person will kill other people before he kills himself. But anyway, tracking deadly force incidents, we have found that 77% of them started or concluded in their entirety outside the building. And that's one of the reasons why we emphasize to the people who follow us, make sure you have eyes on the outside. And That's interesting. This is the first I knew that he'd killed two before he went in. I thought he killed one, but the new president showed me where the lady was laying in their traditional worship style in the sanctuary just ahead of the front. I think they call it an altar, the same as Christian communities do, but laying face down, and he just walked up and shot her in the back of the head. And and he told me about Satwant Singh Kaleka uh, trying to defend himself with his little knife. I don't remember what they call those little knives, but of course he was killed. Uh, and he walked me into the closet there in the kitchen where so many hid as the shots were ringing out, the pantry. And we stood in there, and that's when the officer told him that I too had been present and responded to a killer and saw people die in our church. And the new president took my hand in his, put his other hand over it, and that's the way he walked me through the rest of the temple, including downstairs where so many had been hiding. That guy, if he had gone downstairs, he would have had an absolute target rich environment. There were so many people downstairs that he could have easily killed, uh, as you probably know. But your actions that day and the actions of your fellow officers are to be commended. Value and having somebody right there, uh, and there's equal value in getting law enforcement rolling as soon as possible, very quickly. But as so many know, it's those first 30 seconds that people die in. It's those first 30 seconds that's critical. And I know every law enforcement officer out there would give his right arm to be there right now. But the truth of the matter is, it takes a while to get there. And man, the way you described getting your rifle out of the rack and it getting caught on the ticket printer, and then being in your seatbelt knowing you're being shot at, or assuming that's what the flashes are, because you have to assume that paints an incredible picture, Sam. In actuality, when seconds count, you don't need all that extra stuff, do you?
No, and it was interesting because at the time I was on the training division, and some of
Mm-hmm.
the policies that I helped implement were rewritten.
Yeah, yeah. And man, Sam, that's so critical. When we have an AAR, an after action review, a debriefing, whatever your particular agency calls it, don't be so proud of the policies you helped develop as to not say they were wrong and we need to update them. I mean, that's the value of evaluating an incident that just went down. And I, for one, am very glad that those delay safety mechanisms have been stripped out of your program, because those are critical seconds, critical, as you well know.
Yeah,
And
we
thank you
call them
for
training scars.
training scars.
Yeah, we make
Yeah,
training scars in training, and it gets people hurt. So we got to take the training and look at it as, is it relevant and is it up to date? None of the things that happened there, you know, were trained. But what was
yeah,
interesting in it, the training that we had, we were able to take it and modify it. Training is valuable. I can't express how much training is so valuable because it prepares you. It may not be exactly what you're going to experience, but you're going to get through it because of you've had previous trainings.
yep, yep. I tell people, if you're not training, you're saying it'll never happen here. And
Got to get
I don't
got
know
to get
what.
inside their
Go
OODA loop.
say again.
You got to get inside their OODA loop.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to be on the platform with Greg Stevens. Do you know who he is? From
Name sounds
Garland, Texas.
familiar.
He was the Garland police officer who killed two terrorists who were striking at the Curtis Colwell Event Center during a Paint the Prophet contest of Paint the Prophet Muhammad, when two terrorists drove out from Phoenix, Arizona to shoot the place up. And Greg is the one that met him out in the driveway with nothing but his 45. They both jumped out with AK-47s. He emptied his Glock, and I don't recall the model of it, but it was a 45. And between the two of them, they shot 30 times. And as he was shooting, he was walking towards them, engaging two. And he tells about training a little different, but he emphasizes train like your life depends on it, because it does. And he'd always taken his training very serious. He'd been a 30-year police officer when that went down. He was one of those police officers that went to every training, not only those required, but those that were optional. He took it very serious. And I know you did too. In fact, you were a trainer. You were a SWAT team trainer. Is that correct?
Yes, I was with the Milwaukee Area Technical College on staff there, and I did SWAT training and training the trainers.
Yeah. That event probably changed a lot of the ways you train too, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It gave a new flavor to it.
Gave you a new passion to make sure those officers stayed alive and kept each other alive, didn't it?
And in addition to that, all the officers that were there, it gave a little more self-reflection to it. Not only for the officers that were on the scene, but any that came later.
Yeah, yeah. So they used it to say, what could I have done better?
Yep.
So well, things I've told our people so many times. Listen, when it happens, it's not going to be like you imagined it sitting around your planning table. It's going to go down different. And we all, when we're sitting there planning something in a workshop, in a tabletop exercise, we get these visualizations of how we think it might happen. But you can verify for me, can't you, Sam, that it ain't going to go down like you saw it in your head?
No, it never goes down like training.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Sam, thank you so much for what you did in August of 2012, just a little over 13 years ago. Is there anything else that you want to say to our audience about that day, or being prepared, or anything?
I think we have to instill into our new officers coming in that warrior ethos, that they got to run to the fight, not away from it.
Amen. That's so very true. So very true. That could be repeated 100 times, and some still aren't going to catch the heaviness and the value of that. But that is so true. When you hear shots, go towards them. And if you don't have people in your team, whether that's law enforcement or your team working at church, then you don't have the right people. You've got to go towards the dragon. And I'm so appreciative that you did that in August of 2012, and that you faced the dragon and then made sure he was down. I I love the fact that you were even going to use your car as a weapon if you needed to. Thank you so much for your time. I sure look forward to meeting you Saturday.